This is EbonyMan2K, content creator of Everybody Loves Strong Mama Chrissy and Sansaray. I would like to thank you for sharing your time with me today. Shout out to all my chat room members and listeners who may be listening in your car, in the kitchen cooking, working out, or just listening while you work. Your time is greatly appreciated. Make sure you hit thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and set it to all. Again, I thank you and I hope you enjoy this presentation. This is EbonyMan2K, host of the channel with the same name and content creator of Everybody Loves Strong Mama Chrissy and Everybody Loves the Mamiana Gang. Both are located in the playlist from my homepage. Now, let's get to what we came here for. It's been busy in these YouTube streets lately, with especially for Olivia, who seems to be catching one L after another, after another, after another. In the words of my old pops when he's watching a disappointing football game, man, that joker can't win for losing. Do y'all realize that in a very short span of time, Liv has lost her man, lost her home, lost a diss track battle, lost her mind, and now I suspect she done lost 13 grand. That's right. She done lost 13 large, baby. And I have additional information that I will present to you today that backs my claim. In this video, we will hear from Olivia as she now triples down on her lie of home ownership. I will break down her lie piece by piece. We will then take a virtual road trip to the property and give it a good look and examination. And then I will review my past receipts and present the most current one for my grand closing. After closing, I will present a couple short story times with EbonyMan2K to serve as a preview of my series that will debut next month. The series will be called Story Times with EbonyMan2K. Now, I will leave a replay of this video for those who came to the premiere late, and I will be hosting the chat room for any discussions and questions that you may have. All right, this is EbonyMan2K. Let's get it.
There's a lot that has been said. So as you guys know, I've recently moved out of the house that I had purchased. I'm going to keep saying that. Like, I don't care what you guys say. I'm going to keep saying purchase because I'm going to get into that in a minute. But as you guys know, there's a lot being said about me on these YouTube streets. I don't like to call it that, but whatever. And I feel like I just want to just address it. You know what I mean? I needed my time and my space, and I wanted to address it on my time. And people were like, you're such a liar because you're not telling us anything. It's like, girl, I don't have, first of all, I don't even have to. I don't have to say anything. I could just go on vlogging and not say anything. But I want to say something because it's obviously, first of all, I don't have no reason to, like, I mean, yes, I do have a reason to keep this to myself because there's really weirdos out there that try to find out your every single move and everything. But other than that, like, I don't want people to think I'm scared because a bitch ain't never scared. Okay, a bitch, a bitch ain't never scared. Okay, so let's talk about the house first, and then we'll get into where I'm at and what I'm doing and all that good stuff. What happened with the house? I moved in July, correct? July. And man, this is gonna be a long video, girl. Go get your popcorn, go get your tea, go get your coffee, sis. I moved in July. I don't remember the exact date. I think it was July 10th. Girl, I don't remember. It was so much going on. But I moved in. Now, that house was a lease to own. Okay? I don't care what nobody says. People are going to be like, oh my gosh, she was renting. No, bitch. I was leasing to own that mother. Okay? The reason why I'm so adamant on saying own, because I put 13 $13,000 down on it. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not putting $13,000 down just to be cute with it and just to be like, oh, we gonna stay here, I'm gonna lease this, and then I'm gonna be out. No, no, no. No, 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 no. That was gonna be my home. That was gonna be my home until I could actually, lease to own something else or buy, just right out buy something else. But I started working with this program where it was a lease to own program, and they were going to help you build your credit. And because my credit wasn't, it was enough to buy it, but I wouldn't have gotten the interest rate that I wanted off the house. Girl, it's a lot. But anyway, that's why I am so adamant on saying I bought that house, because I put $13K down that I had saved. I had worked my ass off for it. If I was just gonna rent, sis, I would just go rent. Like, I could, it would have been something completely different. I wasn't lying. I just didn't have to say, this is my lease to own house. No, this is my house. Like, if I'm gonna be in this, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna keep this mother, okay? And I'm gonna, and not even.
California Document Preparers. Amicable divorce in 6 easy steps. If you can agree on division of property and a parenting plan, we can save you a lot of money. 1.
It was a 3-year lease term. Girl, I wasn't even gonna wait 3 years. I was just gonna wait. I was gonna wait a year because my credit is, not that shabby, and then I was gonna just all in purchase it, put in all the paperwork, and just write out own the house. So, anyway, that was the whole thing with that. When I moved into that house, it's not that I couldn't afford it. Yes, I paid $2,000 a month for that house. And it's not that I could not afford it. Because as you know, my husband left the state. We had gotten into it. It was just a lot going on. A lot going on. And I'm not even going to get into that right now. But he ended up leaving and going back to Texas. Okay, fine. I did actually then realize, though, that it was like, it's a lot of maintenance. Because another thing, if you're actually renting a place, the company that owns it or whatever will fix everything, right? But no, no, no. I was responsible for all the fixes, the lawn, the pool, the everything, and it was a lot. It was a lot for me once he had left. So I don't want to say like I needed him to keep the place, because I could have worked my butt off, grinded, and stayed in that house if I wanted to. But I was just like, here it is. Here's what happened. A week in from having the house, something was wrong with the pipes in the kitchen. Now, mind you, when I had showed you guys the house tour, everything was new. Like, they had a new roof, a new AC unit, new tiles. They just remodeled that whole house. So the fact that there was like a huge leak in my kitchen, I was like, I didn't vlog any of this because I already knew how people were going to try to eat it up and talk shit. And it's like, and like I said, a lot of things I do keep off of YouTube. Okay, people don't think I do, but I do, sis. Trust me. So the pipe in the kitchen broke. Girl, it was a whole thing. It was like a whole week to 2-week thing. They had to rip up the cabinets, and girl, they had to just they had to change the pipes in the kitchen, put all the cabinets back. It was a lot. And at the same time, my marriage was falling apart. And it was a lot on me. Like, wow. I look back on it now and it's like,
Senator Jones said he'll try to stop President Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Tell him to confirm Judge Barrett.
I don't know how I got through that, because even after him and I got into it and he did that huge crazy thing that he did, I still wanted to work on my marriage. I was still there, telling him, let's do something about this, let's fix it. And listen, I know people are going to talk a lot of ish about me, that whatever you guys are going to say, but I will always say this. probably to the day I die, because I'll probably be telling my kids this too, that I have loved him since forever. And yes, he makes bad decisions. We're going to get to that. Yes, he has his flaws and he's not always a good person and he doesn't treat me good at all. At all. At all. But I still love him. And I'm figuring why that is now. Like, I'm figuring out why I have this pull to him, this draw to him, this constant just needing him and wanting him. And girl, I'm figuring all that out now. I'm doing like some type of therapy, and anyway, it doesn't really matter. But the whole kitchen situation happened. They fixed the kitchen, and actually the company had paid for it to get it fixed because I had just moved in. I was like, I'm not going to pay for this. I just moved in. I didn't move in. I kept telling my mom this. I did not buy a broken house. I did not do all this to buy a broken house. Anyway, the kitchen was fixed. We were moving on. And then the pipes in the bathroom started giving me problems. So I had 2 bathrooms. I had a full bath and I had a half bath. And the toilet in the half bath and the sink the toilet was not flushing, and the sink, the water would come out the sink. So basically the pipes, I ended up finding out from the plumber that came to fix the kitchen. He was like, these pipes are like 100 years old. They're really bad pipes. I don't know why the company didn't fix this before you moved in, before you purchased the home. I was just like, yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Like, I was pretty upset. I was like, no, like $2,000 a month and I have to deal with all this. Okay. And the company was still, again, they were like, we'll fix it. We'll have people come out, but they were going to have to like rip up all the flooring. And I was like, the kitchen situation was horrible. I couldn't use my kitchen. Yes, they took off, they credited me a certain amount during that month on the payments. But I was like, no, I have a baby. I'm not finna live here while y'all rip up these floors. I was just over it at that point, honestly. Like, the kitchen pissed me off, but then the bathroom, I was just like, I'm over it. Like, I'm freaking over it. On top of it, the maintenance of the house. And I don't want to say that, and I don't want to stress it like, oh, I couldn't do it because he wasn't there, because I could have. It became too much with the problems. And then I told my mom, my mom wanted me to stay at that house. She thought it was a great deal. My sister loved the house. It was a nice house. You know what I mean? I liked it. It was a very bright, beautiful, beautiful home. Was it the perfect home for us? No, not really. But it was a nice house. Now, like I said,
the thermoscientific Dionix ICS 6000 HPIC ion chromatography system. It really meets the needs of a wide variety of people. And so I think people...
My mom told me just to stay, but I was like, no. So I had told the realtor, I was like, look, at this point, things are going wrong, and I don't want to stay in this contract any longer because I didn't go into this thinking that the pipes were fucked up. Because if I knew that, I would not have gotten the house. Like, no, I just wouldn't have. I would have kept looking. I would have seen if they had something different for me, something else. But I don't want to deal with that. That's a huge problem. If something's wrong with the pipes, girl, that's all up and through and under the house. I was not going to do that. And I also told my mom, I was like, there's already 2 things that happened with this house already. So if I keep it and I'm in it for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and something else major happens, they're not going to fix it no more. Like, I'm going to have to do it myself because I've been here long enough. I was still there only like a month or 2. So that's why that's why she was offering to fix these things, for free. But any other unforeseen things that happened with that house, girl, I was going to have to pay for it. Okay. And we had an inspection and everything done on the house. That's why I don't understand how the pipes were not being brought up in the inspection, but whatever. I had asked her, I was like, I want to get out of my contract. Can I get out of my contract? And she said, yeah, you can get out of your contract. We will refund you all of your money back, minus the damages, anything that we damaged, which wasn't anything. And yeah, that's what I did. And it just so happened that it happened at the time that it did, because I was already like, I don't know, I was just over it for some reason. I was over just Florida and as a whole. I was just over it, and I guess a little bit had to do with him leaving, but also it's like what people are not understanding, and I don't understand how people don't get this. I don't think he gets this. He's the father, okay, of these kids. I didn't bring these kids into the world by myself, and I understand hundreds, millions, hundred millions of women do it every day by themselves, no help from no man. But that wasn't the deal with him and I. You know what I mean? Like, we were in a relationship.
Across the country, individuals and small businesses have taken up the challenge to help with our face mask shortage, only to find a shortage of highly effective face mask material. At Filty, we're on a mission to help.
This whole time, even when we broke up, girl, we were still in a relationship. Our relationship is just, it's over now. Like, it's completely 100% over now. But that relationship was a mess. Of course, this whole time, him and I are talking. He's, still leading me on, as he always does. Always does. And I was like, you guys ready? You ready for the bomb? You ready for the bomb? I guess I'll tell you guys where I'm at. But that will be in part 2. So make sure you guys stay tuned to part 2, because I don't want to make this video be 40 minutes long. But yeah, that's what happened with the house. And I guess part 2 will be the rest of the story. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Well, all right. This lie breakdown is going to be easy. Olivia, baby, it is obvious that you do not know nothing about home ownership. When you purchase a home, it is documented with a proof of purchase in the form of a deed that transfers ownership from the previous owner to the new owner with an exact amount and a date. And that document is registered by the county that you live in for property tax purposes. Livia, you have not provided that because you do not have that, because you do not own the home. Now, I understand that you put down a down payment of $13,000 to begin the process, but that does not mean you own a home. No, you just started the process, but you did not finish the process by securing the funding amount from the bank. So you just lost $13,000. See, you trying to be slick by acting like we don't see this big ass pink elephant in the room. Now, you can act like you bought a home, Olivia, but there's too much documented public records that say otherwise. Furthermore, you talked about getting your money back because of property issues, and they were okay with that. Well, if you got the down payment back, then how will you still own the home? I mean, which lie are you going to tell, Olivia? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell you which lie you're going to tell. The money you got back from the landlord was not the down payment. The money you got back was the security deposit of the $2,000 that rightfully allowed for you to get out of the lease portion of the agreement. But you did not get no $13,000 down payment back, bitch. You did not get no $13,000 down payment back, bitch. You didn't get it because you didn't secure the funding all the way. because you inflated your income that included your rod. That's right. Gotcha, bitch. You ain't got no $13,000 back because you did not secure the funding, because you had bogus income. That's what happened. And you might as well just chalk that up to the game. And the thing about it is, I'm pretty sure the landlord had no problem giving you back $2,000 because they were already up $13,000 in the home ownership portion. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and take a quick tour of the home, and then we can run through my receipts. Let's go. Okay, on the screen now is a description of Olivia's old rental property that she had in Clearwater, Florida. The rental listing amount is $1,995 a month, and it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath at 1,300 square feet. The program she was in was a lease to own. The program allows a home buyer up to 36 months to qualify for a loan. All the while, they get to live in the home, and it is 100% of the down payment goes toward the purchase price. The monthly payment actually includes insurance, property tax, and homeowners association payments too. It is fully renovated, featuring a modern open floor plan and large pool calling your name. Upgrades include a new roof, Whirlpool stainless steel appliances, paired with new cabinets and gorgeous granite. Okay, now we're going to look at the source from Zillow.com. If you look at the top of the page, that is that address of question on Owen Drive in Clearwater, Florida. Now, Zillow has very valuable information. One of it is price history. A lot of people have not noticed that. But for every property that they have listed, they show a price history of events of that property, whether it be sold or rented. Okay, so let's go to price history that you see on the screen. But we're going to start from the bottom, from February 25th, and work our way up to present day to show all transactions that has been on this property since the February 2020 of this year. Now, it says on public record, right, that this property was sold on February the 25th, 2020. It was sold. Now remember that date because we're going to come back to it later. Then later on in April, it was listed for sale and was listed on in April and May, but no one bought it. And then the listing for sale was removed on May the 29th. Okay, so since they couldn't sell it, then in June 19th, 2020, they listed it for rent. And then in July 10th, it was removed. The reason why it was removed, because someone rented it. And that was Livia. It does not say sold. It says listing, remove, rent, and it was rented for that time. The only owner of this home for the entire year of 2020 was the person that bought it on February 25th, and that was not Olivia. She picked it up on July 10th as a renter at the rate of $19.95 per month. And then it even shows even more current date where it's listed again. She has moved out. She moved out around September 15th or so. Well, probably a little bit earlier because it was actually listed for rent on the 15th. So she probably moved out near probably the first of the month. So as you can see, this is a detailed listing, if you will, of the price history of this property for the most part of 2020. There is no listing or documentation that Olivia gained any type of ownership. The only ownership that the only sole listing that it has was on February the 25th, 2020, at the very beginning of the year. And then from that point going forward, it was all rental, all rental, all rental. Olivia picked it up in July and she left it in September. Now, I say remember this February 25th date because we're going to come back to it a little bit later. Okay, guys, remember I told you, remember that February date 2020? And when it said that was the only date of sale for the year of 2020? Okay, well, here's the documentation for that. This is the warranty that was executed on the 21st of February 2020 from Wanda Weddington, who was the owner at the time, to a company. And that company is called Bay Capital Holdings, LLC. They are the ones that bought that house from the individual on February 2020. And they bought it for $179,000. Again, the owner of that house right now that bought it on February 2020 is Bay Capital Holdings, LLC. It is not Olivia. Okay? They bought it in February and was owning it for the rest of the year. And then later on that year, around May or so, they put it up for rent. And later on in the summer is when Olivia picked it up as a renter. She came in as a renter. She left as a renter. There was no sales transaction between Bay Capital Holdings, LLC, that bought it in February 2020 to Olivia. There's no sales transaction. No, ma'am, no, sir. The only thing Bay Capital Holdings offered to Olivia was a rental agreement. Now, it may have been some mix of rental or rent to own, but at no point did Olivia have any ownership of that home. Now, I think what happened is she probably agreed to some type of rent to own with a down payment of $13,000. And I hope she got that $13,000 back. Because if not, then all they did was took her lunch money. They saw her coming down from Texas, down I-10, and said, "Yeah, we got us one." And I think her anxiety right now is that $13,000 may be tied up to some type of agreement that she had with these guys, and that's why she wants somebody to come in and buy the home that can break her out of this agreement that she has. I got a feeling she got $13,000 tied up, because it's my understanding that once you get into an agreement like that in terms of a rent to own, you got to go through some type of period where you got to be in good faith and trying to find some type of funding for the home. I think you have to be in good faith, go out to banks and try to see if they can approve you for a loan for the home. And I think she can't get it approved, and that $13,000 is being held up, and that's why she's stressing. So I'm hoping she got a way to get out of that agreement and get that $13,000, because that ain't nothing to brag about. I mean, she keep bragging about, well, I put $13,000 now. I put $13,000. Then you put $13,000 on something that you ain't got nothing to show for. You put $13,000 down on something that you can't even show for. You have absolutely no ownership of that home, none. And $13,000 is a lot of money. And here's the thing that I've learned about rent to own agreements, that they only look good on paper. I've owned a home for over some 20 years. I've been in a position where I've been a landlord and I've talked about rent to own before. They never come to fruition. They never come to. It all sounds good on paper. Because when you think about it, if a person does have $13,000, and if they can make $2,000 a month in a sort of payment, they would just go ahead and be a person that can buy a house. I mean, why would you agree to that? If you sitting really on 13 grand and you really can make $2,000 a month in a payment, then there's no need to be in a rent to own situation. You can just try to own. So listen, I don't know what she has done, but I'm telling you right now, she's a liar. She's a liar. She does not own no property nowhere in Florida, and she definitely don't own this one here in Clearwater with this address. Again, this property belongs to Bay Capital Holdings LLC, and they've been owning it since February 2020. Okay, so this is another piece of information from the Pinellas County Tax Assessor Office that supports what I just said, right? Now, this has been updated on September 26, 2020, which is just a couple days ago. So this is the most recent information on that property in Clearwater, Florida, where Olivia claims she owns that house, right? Okay, if you look at the top of the page on the right, you see that address on Owen Drive. On the left, tell me what you see as far as ownership. I tell you what you don't see. You don't see no Olivia somebody on there, do you? No, you do not. Again, the owner of that home as of September 26th is Bay Capital Holdings LLC, located in Tampa. That's their office. But they own that property on Owen Drive in Clearwater, Florida. And this matches up with that deed that you just saw earlier that was executed on February 2020. And it also coincides with Zillow.com, where it says it was sold in February 2020. So again, every piece of information I have provided you today, matches up. And in closing, I want to be clear. In February 2020, this property on Owen Drive in Clearwater, Florida, was bought by Bay Capital Holdings, LLC. Then it was listed for rent, and Olivia picked it up as a renter. And there is some ambiguity in terms of what type of rental agreement she had, because it could have included a rent-to-own. But she has never owned it. She has never owned it. So wherever $13,000 she put down, it has been for naught. She has nothing to show for it. And I think that's where the embarrassment really lies. Instead of just saying, I might have blown $13,000, she's going to say, no, I did use $13,000, but now I own the home. No, ma'am, no, sir. No, you do not. Because I got 3 pieces of information here from legitimate sources that say otherwise. Well, all right, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here's that candy, that Jolly Rancher. Here is that lick. What you see on screen now is a copy of a rent-to-own lease agreement as governed by the state of Florida. The specific lease agreement that Olivia signed should be almost identical to the one we see here on screen, in that both of them were written specifically with respect to the rules and laws of the state of Florida. Now, I have already read through this document, and it reads just like a typical rental agreement in the beginning, as it refers to the basics like the rent amount, the term of the agreement, the security deposit, etc. But the agreement ends with a section that covers the elements of the purchase option. That section is number 24, and we can start from there. So, pull up your screen on full view as we review together item number 24, points A, B, and C from this agreement. Okay, this is the option to purchase provisions, starting at number 24 from the rental agreement. And it reads as follows. Number 24, option agreement. Landlord grants to tenant an option to purchase the leased property herein on terms and conditions as follows. A, term of option. At any time during the lease term described in this agreement, tenant may elect to purchase the leased property, including the personal property located thereon. In the event tenant defaults in the terms and conditions of the agreement, including but not limited to non-payment of rent or other violation of the conditions of the lease portion of the agreement, the option to purchase shall automatically terminate without further notice from the landlord to the tenant. B, exercise of option. Tenant shall have the right to exercise this option only by delivering to the landlord a written notice of exercise of this option at any time during the lease term, unless sooner terminated as outlined therein. C, and this is probably the most important part of the whole thing. Okay, so let's look at this carefully. C, option payments and purchase price. As consideration for the granting of this option to purchase, the real estate tenant agrees to pay to landlord the amount sum and the execution of this agreement. The option payment in the amount of whatever they agreed to, out of which full rental paid by tenant shall be credited against the purchase price, hereinafter stated at the time of closing. Okay, the total purchase price, subject to any credit stated, is payable in cash or cashier's check, certified check on the date of the closing. This shall not prevent the tenant from seeking financing from any third party for part or all of the purchase price. However, the ability to obtain financing or the favorability of the terms thereof shall not be or create any contingency on the performance of the terms thereof by the tenant. Okay? The option amount and the amount of whatever they agreed to, given therein from tenant to landlord, is non-refundable to tenant. Let's read that one more time. The option payment and the amount agreed, given that herein from the tenant to the landlord, is non-refundable to the tenant in all events except the failure on the part of the landlord or inability of the landlord to transfer the property to the tenant at closing, as further set forth in paragraph 24. No part of rental payment shall be refundable to tenant for any reason. I know this is a lot of legal verbiage, but this last part is very important, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of break it down what it's saying. It is saying that when you decide to go into this agreement, that amount, which for Olivia would have been $13,000, is non-refundable. And the only way she can get her money back is due to the fault of the landlord. Like the landlord would have to slip up on this deal or do something wrong or couldn't provide the property in a proper manner for her to say, okay, well, I want my money back. But she cannot get her money back if something goes wrong on her end. The way this is written from the perspective to protect the interests of the landlord, because the landlord is bringing this agreement to Olivia, not the other way around. So they are writing this agreement in terms of how you handle the payment in the best interest of the landlord. Because it clearly states right here that once you make that payment, good, bad, or indifferent, it's gone. So it's in your best interest to go ahead and try to get a loan at a bank and go ahead and see it through. Plus, if you don't, you still don't get your money back. That means if you don't go through with getting your loan and going through the process of purchasing this home, that $13,000 is gone. The only way you get that $13,000 back is as if the landlord did something wrong. But in this case, more than likely, this is a company they got all this stuff together. They ain't making no mistakes to lose no $13,000. They ain't making no mistakes to lose no $13,000. They gonna make sure all their I's are dotted and T's crossed to make sure they get the $13,000. I mean, you gotta look at it from their perspective. They wrote this agreement so they can't lose. They probably already knew that Olivia ain't got no good credit. So they wrote the agreement up where they can't lose. Well, okay, let her go ahead and put the $13,000 to see if she bought it. She did that part, so they got $13,000 off at the beginning. And then it can only get better if she gets approved. If she gets approved, okay, that's cool too. Now instead of $13,000, now we got the balance of the $179,000, whatever they're charging. But the worst case scenario is that they would have 13 and still had the 100% of the property. That's still not that bad. Hell, what, 13,000 is what, about 6 to 7 months worth of rent. So they got the 13,000 for Olivia, kicked her out. They sitting on 13, and then they still can go and rent it out on a month to month, 6 months or a year to somebody else, because they already got 13 in the pocket. Olivia got her lunch money took, y'all. Olivia got her lunch money took. These folks stood out on Interstate 10 waiting for her to come down the interstate from Texas with their hands out like, we got us one today, y'all. They already knew the game because they already knew that she probably has money, but she ain't got no good credit. So let her go ahead and fill out this paperwork. You do what you got to do, baby girl, and just give us the 13. Because at the end of the day, we can walk away with this 13 and we still Gucci. But Olivia, she shit out of luck. And I think what done happened is she filled out that application and probably wasn't too truthful about it. She probably used old boy's salary to support that she had enough salary to pay rent. Somewhere down between them two, where he said, I ain't paying nothing. And now she by herself. And she can't go back and tell them, hey, you know, I put down that my boyfriend or husband, whatever he is, was gonna pay half the rent, but he can't do it no more. And she can't get all jump and try to take them to court, because what could end up happening is they say, okay, well, let's go to court and let's review your paperwork. And so by jumping on them and taking them to court, and trying to get them and trying to corner them on something, it's going to end up blowing back in her face. Because I got a feeling she done inflated her income with old boy's income, or told some type of lie where she can get the deal. And then they're going to end up finding out that she was participating in some fraud. So hey, that's just my opinion, man. But I think it's within reason. I think it's plausible. I think she filled out a bogus application. I think she really did put 13,000 down. I think old boy Gerard, I think he kind of left the situation and left her holding the bag. And now she don't know what she want to do, because she can't really get all jumping and take somebody to court, because that's gonna put her and that's gonna expose what she did. And from what I understand in terms of these real estate deals, that when you're in real estate, people don't play around. It ain't no, I can get my money back if I can try to do this and that, and maybe I can get my money back, or maybe I get 50% back. I ain't never heard of that. All I heard is once you put the money down, it's 100% non-refundable. So hey, that's what I think done happened to Olivia. She done lost the money, and she all depressed because she can't get it back. And I think I heard somebody say, well, how she get, her U-Haul truck and she in another place? That ain't 13,000 worth of stuff, y'all. I mean, that's, a couple thousand here and there. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of dollars. It ain't no 13,000. I mean, 13,000 that's almost like a little Hyundai. You can do something with 13,000, but this little U-Haul stuff she doing, that's just, small money. I mean, you can lose $13 and still do what she's doing is what I'm saying. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give you a little short story about what I've done in a situation like this, and we're gonna see if we can apply. So give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, so here's a short story time that I'm going to give to you that is relative to the matter at hand with Olivia. Now, I said I will only start my story times when I feel that donations were up to par. Because to give my identity and personal stories, only to expose myself to liabilities, big or small, the juice has to be worth the squeeze. As of right now, the level of participation in donation is moderate, in that I am still getting donations, but from the same select group of private donors. We need somebody to stand and step up, because this same group has been carrying the weight for some time now. And if you're really serious about supporting me and my efforts and funding new offerings like my story times, then you should consider donating whatever you can. Even if it's just $5, please consider donating as much as you can afford. Okay, around 2008, I had just gotten to a position financially where I could afford to invest in outside business ventures. I had liquid capital in the bank. I had access to more capital from relationships and banking, and I had years of project management experience. So I pursued going after a franchising opportunity with a company that we will call the Up Store for now, because I don't want to identify the real identity of the franchise. But for now, We'll call it the Up Store. And the Up Store is a competitor to the Postal Service, and they are located in mid-class to upper-class shopping centers. Okay? So you should know who the Up Store really is. Now, an average Up Store has a very unique business model. They will pretty much ship anything and offer above and beyond customer service. I'm sure you have noticed that when you go inside an Up Store, the store manager is always moving frantically and seem to be a bit stressed out. That is the nature of that business. Well, I took that into consideration in pursuing buying a franchise of my own in Atlanta. In doing so, I had to put money down in escrow for purchase of the business in the same manner that Liv had to put money down for the purchase of the home. One of my requirements before closing was for me to receive full documentation of financial reports for my review. Now, they dragged their feet a little until they finally sent me year-end financials. Now, I already know that you can hide a lot when you just have an annual report that shows profit. I needed to see month-to-month financials to see what's really going on, because monthly and weekly reports show any cash flow issues. So after I put money down in escrow, I finally got my monthly reports. And sure enough, they showed that a typical Up Store loses money the entire year, but makes it up all in 2 months in November and December as the volume of packages multiply for the holidays. For the rest of the year, the store manager covers any losses with his own money and floats the operation until he can make good in those last 2 months. Now, as a single guy without a spouse to give me a financial cushion, and due to the fact that I don't like stress, I chose to back out of the deal. And I didn't know how to do it. So I took my paperwork to my attorney, and he explained that in agreements, you have to look for trigger points. You have to find actions in the agreement that can activate what you want to happen. Well, we found one. In the agreement, it stated that you can get 50% of your escrow money back if you make a good faith effort to seek funding and can't get approved. So I was advised by my attorney to say nothing about the financial stuff. Just play the funding part out, and you're going to get what you wish for with the same outcome. So I went to banks I knew were out of my league, and I got letters of disapproval. I even went to one of my homeboys who worked in banking and told him to deny me. He was confused, but I explained to him later what was going on. So my advice to Liv today is to review your lease to own agreement and see if there's some provision that allows you to get out of the deal with some or all of your money. I know that this situation is rare, but hopefully you can find that lease agreement trigger that will ultimately help you stop being that broke nigga. Ladies and gentlemen, this is EbonyMan2K, and this concludes my presentation. I will leave a replay for those who came in late to the premiere, and I will now go into the chat room to answer any questions. All right, peace. This is EbonyMan2K. This is Freak Dick 1994 at Piedmont Park, Atlanta. My toes are pedicured in Timberland sandals. I am poloed down with polo Bermuda shorts, polo t-shirt, polo cap, and a hoop earring in my left ear. Now, even though I'm poloed down, I'm wearing Hilfiger cologne. Because for whatever reason, that Hilfiger cologne emanating off my chest and off my shoulders is that candy. It's that lick. Now, I just met the girl to the left of me. She is a senior at Spelman, and she want to know, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? I tell her 30. She say, I'll give you 50. Ladies and gentlemen, I am anxious to give you the rest of this story and more about Freaknik and dating in Atlanta in my series, Storytime with EbonyMan2K. But as I mentioned in previous videos, as I step up my game, I ask that you step up yours. My donations right now are not bad. The same people are donating modestly, and I appreciate their support morally, spiritually, and financially. But now it's time for you to step up and join the fold. Whenever you get to a comfortable spot with me and your finances, I ask that you consider donating to support me in my efforts with this channel. I have already created an entertaining collection of videos on Sansaray, Strong Mama Chrissy, the Mamayana Gang, the Viper Pit, and Good Vibes Only music sessions. You can go to my playlist right now to see I ain't lying. And if I add story times with 2K, it will require additional production costs with the sorting and management of hundreds of media files. And let's be clear now. My stories are valuable. I have landed deals after sharing my stories with clients. I have been the talk of dinner parties with my stories. And I have kikied my way with some high caliber women with my story times. If I start these story times, you will not get enough of EbonyMan2K. Now, I will leave you with my Cash App and PayPal handles later on in this video. The links to my PayPal and Cash App are in the description box below and at the top of the comment section. You can also super chat me if you choose to do so. And soon, I will be offering a membership option through Google Pay. All right, folks, let's get to what we came in for. I will add replays for those who came in the premiere late. And I will be available in the chat room for those who have any questions or just want to chop it up with me and others. All right, let's go. This is EbonyMan2K. We're about to go into our chat and music session. But first, if you would like to donate via Cash App, the Cash App ID is $EbonyMan2K. That's $EbonyMan2K. If you'd like to make a donation via PayPal, send it to paypal.me/EbonyMan2K. That's paypal.me/EbonyMan2K. And if you'd like to send it via Venmo, send it to @EbonyMan2K. That's @EbonyMan2K. Thanks. And let me add one more thing. Direct links to all of my accounts, including PayPal and Cash App, are located in the description box and at the top of my comment section. You can just click on the link to donate. Also, Super Chat is on as a feature at the bottom of the chat box in the chat room if you would like to donate there, with a highlighted chat post with super stickers and animation. Super Chat is new to my channel, so you should give it a try. Thanks. We're about to go into our chat and music session. If you're new to my channel, you should come by to the chat room and introduce yourself. I mean, if you're going to fix a plate and eat my food, you should at least stop by the grill and dap me up. Let me know you're having a good time. If you're watching this in playback, I recommend that you just keep doing what you're doing and just let the music rock out. Just let it rock out. and relax, bro. All right, let's go.